After a years-long legal battle, appeal court unanimously discharges leader of a proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, describing his rearrest as an abduction and a flagrant violation of international treaties. Hello and welcome to the nation's flagship political show. I'm Kayode Okikulu, right here in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Now, every day comes with its own intrigue in Nigeria's political space, and today lived up to that billing as it saw a major twist to a case that has lasted, 7 years, traversing different countries, even different continents. Well, earlier on, a three-man panel of the Court of Appeal, just moments ago actually, discharged the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on the grounds that the Federal High Court lacks the jurisdiction to try him in view of his abduction and extraordinary rendition to Nigeria in flagrant violation of the OAU Convention and Protocol on Extradition. The lead judgment, delivered by Justice Oludotun Adefope-Okoje, held that the 15-count charge preferred against Kanu did not disclose the place, date, time, and nature of the alleged offenses before being unlawfully extradited to Nigeria in clear violation of international treaties. The court further described the act of abduction and extraordinary rendition of Mr. Kanu, apparently from Kenya, without due process as a violation of his right. The court also held and said that the manner in which Mr. Kanu was procured and brought before the court was not evaluated by the lower court before assuming jurisdiction to try him, and the lower court having failed to address the preliminary objection challenging its jurisdiction, particularly the issue of abduction and extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria. The lower court failed to take cognizance of the fact that a warrant of arrest can only be executed anywhere within Nigeria. Now, it was a unanimous decision, by the way. So let's bring you a quick background to Mr. Kanu's trials. He was arrested in October 2015 in Lagos, Nigeria, by the DSS. Now, there were controversies about his detention, his bail afterwards, while the case dragged on in court, with his absence stalling the case. Well, 2 years after, he was granted bail on health grounds in 2007, and he disappeared from public view after September 2017 when his home was raided. Now, also that year, the IPOB was proscribed and designated a terrorist organization by the Nigerian government. Now, fast forward to the next year. In October 2018, pictures surfaced that showed him in Israel. Now, these pictures were everywhere online, while the case against him in Nigeria was pending. Now, his sojourn outside the country lasted till June last year, when he was said to have been arrested in Kenya, apparently, and extradited back to Nigeria. His trial then began in October 2021 on charges of terrorism, treason, and involvement with a banned separatist movement. Now, in January this year, 2022, an Abia State High Court ruled his arrest as unlawful and an infringement on human rights. Now, his arrest and subsequent trial have sparked protests and violence in majorly southern eastern region of Nigeria. So that gives you a picture of how we got here, 7 years. And this is a major pronouncement by the court and, of course, a developing story as well. So stay with us for the unfoldings on that major one. But
well, what it means in clear parlance is that Nnamdi Kanu was discharged today. That means he's a free man, and he should be allowed to go home tomorrow. By the time we get a certified true copy of the judgment, we'll serve it on the office of the Attorney General and the DSS to allow Nnamdi Kanu go. Let my people go. That is how it is put in the Bible.
But Chief Ezekume, we've heard from the federal government right now.
Was allowing that, there was a problem. Yeah.
We just heard the update from the federal government saying that it's just, on a single issue bordering on rendition, and they are looking at taking other legal options, afforded to the government.
The single issue bordering on extraordinary rendition after he was brutally captured, tortured in Kenya, blindfolded, and extrajudicially rendered back to Nigeria, is what determined it. We put all the facts before the court. The federal government had no answer to any of the allegations. And in law, when we make certain factual allegations and they are not denied, they are deemed admitted. So if the federal government wants to pursue trifles against a citizen by appealing against such a well-rendered judgment, I can only wish them good luck. But let me also tell the federal government, if they appeal, I'm going to file a cross appeal against two of the issues which I do not agree with the Court of Appeal on. That is the issue of the status of the place of commission of an offense. Section 45 of the Federal High Court Act and decisions of the Supreme Court make it clear that you can only try a person in a place where you disclose the venue of the commission of the crime, the time, the circumstances. But when you say Nnamdi made a broadcast, from where did he make the broadcast? Is it in the spirit world? Is it in the land of the dead? The Court of Appeal, with all respect, appeared to have glossed over that something by saying, oh, it didn't matter since the charge, the counts did not deceive him. That is not the issue. Supreme Court, look, the Lebanese case that was tried, we all watched it, was it last year? They were accused of having catch of farms in Kano, but they were tried in Abuja, and the Supreme Court quashed the entire judgment because it is the venue of the commission of a crime that you should try the person. Then Nnamdi Kanu, you say he made a broadcast. You have not told us where he made this broadcast from. The other one, the Court of Appeal also agreed with us, where they said he brought in a transmitter at Obulu Suzo in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State, which is outside the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court of Abuja. They also agree with us. But all in all, the issue was jurisdictional. And that is that under the Extradition Act, particularly Section 15, and under international conventions, OAU, United Nations, you cannot extrajudicially render a person by brute force, by force of arms, from one country to another. There must be a warrant of arrest, which must accompany a written document to the host country that we want this person back. They did not do that. They just forced him back. And the doctrine of specialty is that even when you bring such a person back, you can only try him for the offense that you are bringing him back for. But they still subjected Nnamdi Kanu to the first initial 5-count charge, which they later amended to 7 counts. Then they later amended again to 15 counts. Let me tell you, the federal government has amended the counts against Nnamdi Kanu 7 whole times. And the court, at the Federal High Court, I was able to get 8 of the 15 counts dismissed. It was the remaining 7 that the lower court held on to that were today dismissed by the Court of Appeal. The whole remaining 7 counts were set aside, and then Nnamdi Kanu was set free, discharged by the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court has said such a discharge amounts to discharge and acquittal. If they want to appeal against a mere citizen, when I think the federal government should see this as a good reception, as a matter that is good for the whole country, to bring about normalcy, peace to the southeast, peace to Nigeria, and then you still want to appeal, then my take on it is that it will amount to persecution and no longer prosecution. In any event, why should the federal government, through the DSS, that arrested this man, they are keeping him, they investigated him, they are prosecuting him, they are Lord and Master, the accuser, the prosecutor, the judge. And that cannot be a fair trial or a fair hearing. So what the Court of Appeal did today It's what the federal government should have quickly done even before the Court of Appeal intervention. When I wrote, Mr. President, last week, 38-page letter with 3-page executive summary, begging, genuflectingly, Mr. President, to kindly release Nnamdi Kanu in accordance with the July 20, 2022 decision ruling by the United Nations Working Group on Human Rights, where they say Nnamdi Kanu was extrajudicially rendered to Nigeria and that he was tortured and that the federal government should release him immediately and also pay him compensation.
Chief Ozekeme, I believe that, you know, considering all that you said and seeing as the position of the federal government as well, this might be a matter that still will continue, you know, in the courts. But I think we should leave it there. We'd like to thank you, appreciate your time. I wish we had more time.
Tomorrow, it does not stop Nnamdi Kanu being released. A notice of appeal does not act as a stay of execution, nor does it render a judgment of the lower court invalid. They should release Nnamdi Kanu immediately and let him go. And let peace go.
Are yet to wake up from your slumber or your sleep and get the point that we are exiting Nigeria. Exiting Nigeria is not going to come from the platter of golden plate. You have to sacrifice for it. And we are ready to sacrifice everything, including you, if you come and stand in the way of freedom. So you need to know how serious we are. We are damn serious. Some of you are not getting it. You think we are here to build political movement? We are here for freedom. Freedom comes with price. Okay? The only thing you can do is to comment on social media. Don't ever stand on the way of Biafra freedom. We'll crush you.
Their interest is suppressed. Biafra is the key. Once they can hold Biafra down, they can hold all of Africa down. Hey, freedom fighting, sorry. Because all these people are criminals. They are saying there is no way this man cannot be a criminal like themselves. They don't have a different breed altogether. They don't know that. I am Nnamdi Kanu. I don't do all this nonsense you do. My father was a very rich man, not ostentatious. I had the finest education that his money could afford. We are not poor. Have never been. That is why a poor man cannot be a freedom fighter. If you're not full of yourself, you cannot be a freedom fighter. You go everywhere. We must continue.